A midweek update for you guys. Lots happening here. We've got the Draper U residency coming to the end and all these projects doing their pitches. Really exciting stuff. We also have a bunch of infrastructure updates. We got Mithril. We have node diversity. Some really key things happening on the blockchain. We also have ecosystem updates. Lots of them here. So I'm going to cover as much as possible. So many projects are reaching out saying, hey, Pete, can you mention me? So I'm doing it for you guys. And also I'm going to cover governance in this one too. So lots of updates. Let's get right into it. Hey everyone, I'm Peter Bury. If this is your first time here, thumbs up, like, subscribe, notification bell. Please use those chapter markers down below. They're there for a reason. If you use those chapter markers, you can jump to a topic that you're interested in. If you're listening to the audio podcast, sorry, I don't do chapter markers there, but listen all the way through anyway, guys. I've got some really interesting stuff here and hidden gems along the way. All right, let's get into it. My first news segment here is about the Global Pizza Party Day. Now, if you haven't heard about this, if you don't know what it is, this is organized by the Pizza DAO to commemorate that infamous day when, I may be pronouncing his name wrong here, Laszlo, I'm just going to end with that, Laszlo spent 10,000 BTC Bitcoin on pizzas, bought 2 pizzas with a little bit left over the next day. He likes leftovers apparently. But he spent 10,000 Bitcoin on that. So that's nearly $1 billion in today's money. So that's a lot of money that he spent those Bitcoins. And this is a special day to commemorate that occasion. But there are many different events happening around the world. And I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find an event really close to you so you can get to it and celebrate this particular event all the way through India, Southeast Asia, even the ones in Australia, and I will be at this one here in Brisbane. So if you are in the Brisbane area, come along to Felons Brewery, say hi, take some photos. I'll be there at the event, and you can come along and celebrate this I wouldn't say momentous, but memorable day when this poor chap spent 10,000 BTC on 2 pizzas. Anyway, I'll see you there, guys. Now, this is a pretty interesting update here, and this is looking at some on-chain analytics around what's happening in the Cardano space. And check this out. Nearly 1 billion worth of ADA, 932 million, has been withdrawn from centralized exchanges since the beginning of 2025. That is a massive amount of outflows. Now, the last time there was this major outflow was back in 2021. And there was a huge combination of things. There was smart contracts coming. There was the Sunday Swap ISPO. There was a lot of ISPO. So a lot of people were moving their ADA out of exchanges so they could capitalize on those ISPOs, initial stake pool offerings, where you could stake your ADA on a local stake pool and then earn some extra rewards. You get Sunday tokens, you get MELD tokens. So all those extra tokens in the ecosystem were really desirable, all those DeFi things. And that also sparked in an all-time high back then because because they had them on their wallets, they weren't selling them directly and exiting out to fiat on the centralized exchanges. So we saw that massive all-time high. Now we're seeing some interesting things here with the outflows of ADA again. So we've got massive amount of outflows to wallets, but there are no major ISPOs at the moment. There's nothing like that. Well, actually, there is. And it might be because of the midnight glacier drop. But we don't have any details about that. And we don't know exactly when the snapshot is, if it's actually happened. Some people said it's already happened, but I don't have any concrete details. So that's pretty interesting. And we also have the Bitcoin OS airdrop. So they're dropping their BOSS token to the ecosystem. So it may be correlated to that type of stuff because you do need to have the assets in your wallet to be able to participate in the particular airdrops. So this is quite interesting to see, and it may be a very similar thing. Okay, so what I want to know now is, will we see also this all-time high repeat? Now, the economic situation and everything is very different compared to what it was in 2021. Back then, we also had COVID stimulus paychecks, and the world was essentially spending all their money on GameStop and crypto. So this may not be a similar repeat, but we may see some sort of spike. So I don't know personally if we're going to see a spike over the old all-time high, but we may see definitely a nice spike because of those major outflows. But we'll see. We'll see. That's something to keep an eye on, guys, and I'll keep you updated and reporting on this type of outflows and what might be happening in the Cardano space in regards to ADA's price. Now, this next news story here is about the Draper U residency program, and it's already been 5 weeks. I can't believe it. All these projects in the Cardano space and these new ones that are popping up over from the other blockchains and other ecosystems, they've finally gone through the residency program and they've gone now into their pitch days. This is really cool because they've been now armed with all the resources and tools they need to be able to pitch in front of VCs. These are all the projects here. You can find it on the Draper U X profile, but these projects here have all gone through that particular course. Lots of really cool picks from there, and I think a lot of projects have gotten major exposure to VCs and whatnot. So this is a really cool thing for any of the projects. And I think from this picture here, you can see that they definitely got the skills now to refine their pitches. Just seeing this one single slide here, 5-second onboarding, mobile first experience, those type of things really catch the attention of people and go, oh, wow, 5 seconds and you're onboarded. That's fantastic. And, you know, Vespa has had this from day one, but to actually throw it out there in front of people is something different. You got to market yourself. You got to sell yourself. And that's a really hard thing. So I'm really happy that all these people have managed to get through and gone to this point. And like I said, there's projects that I'd really love to get a better understanding of. Beef Fi, I think that's how you say it. I don't know much about their project, but I'd love to know what they're doing. So, you know, if you guys reach out to me, I would love to have a chat. But now, what's next? The CV Labs one is now happening over in Switzerland. So this is the next incubator accelerator program that's happening at the moment, and some of the Cardano projects got into this one. So I'll be keeping an eye on this one now to see what the guys are learning from this. But it's pretty much the same thing. Like, people are learning how to get into that VC space, raise funds, and really accelerate the growth of their projects. So awesome stuff, guys. And I'll be keeping an eye on all those projects that managed to get through. Now, if you haven't yet, this is just a quick request to like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, not only for this channel here if you haven't done so already, but my new crypto channel. This one's focused purely on tutorials. So it doesn't fit well with this channel. Anytime I put up a tutorial on this channel, it tanks any other subsequent video afterwards. This channel was mainly about what's happening on Cardano, what's happening with ADA in general, but this other channel here is more of the boring stuff on how to set up a Cardano node, how to build a node from scratch, how to do a swap on StealSwap, what are Babel fees, etc. You know, all that stuff that is really a little bit more tedious, and people don't like to watch it. And you know, I have to chuck it on a different channel. So please give this other channel a like and to subscribe. I've renamed it. It's now called Crypto Tutorials by Pete. So hopefully you'll be able to find that. It's a little bit easier than what I had before. Now let's have a look at some infrastructure side of things. This is the core stuff. This is the Cardano node, all the software there that runs the blockchain. And there's lots of updates from this. This first one here is around Mithril. Now, Mithril is a protocol for lightweight access to the Cardano blockchain. By removing reliance on full nodes for synchronization, it streamlines blockchain verification while maintaining security. So this is a really nice way of syncing the chain. If you're starting a brand new node, you sync the chain by using Mithril. Now, there's a whole bunch of stake pool operators out there, including myself, who are Mithril signers. Basically, what you get is a snapshot of the Cardano node, and then the Mithril signers will sign that snapshot and say, hey, this is an authentic version copy of the Cardano node. This one's good to go. So if anyone else that wants to start their node, they can download that copy and then start syncing from that point. So for example, we're at epoch, I don't know what epoch we're at the moment. Let's say it's 530. So let's say the Mithril signers have signed a snapshot of that blockchain up to 529. So anyone that's starting a brand new node can download that snapshot and then start syncing from node 529, as opposed to epoch 1. So it saves a massive amount of time. It's like syncing within 40 minutes compared to a day and a half. So it's a massive difference, and Mithril is a powerhouse behind that. If you want to learn how to actually create a node and sync with Mithril, this video tutorial here will actually show you how to do it. So you can watch this one and set up your own node at home and sync with Mithril. It's really, really cool. Now let's go through the rest of this thread here. So key benefits: lightweight wallets, mobile applications, layer 2 solutions, and stake pool operators. Yep, that's what I'm using. The next bit here, mechanism. Mithril aggregates individual signatures from the network participants into multi-signatures, creating compact certificates for trustless validation. Advantages: quick synchronization with the blockchains, optimized for resource-constrained environments, inherits Cardano's cryptographic security. Future developments: integrations of zero-knowledge proofs. Interesting. For compact certificates, decentralized aggregation processes. And if you want to learn more, there is this blog post here, and you can go through this blog post, learn everything that Mithril has to offer. Now, if your stake pool operator isn't a Mithril signer, I highly recommend that you reach out to them and ask them to be. The more Mithril signers we have, the more verified that particular snapshot is on chain. So it's a really good way of supporting the ecosystem, and it's really easy to do. It took me maybe 5-10 minutes to set up the Mithril signer on my node. So really encourage you guys to reach out to stake pool operators and make sure they are a Mithril signer. This next news item here is around node diversity, and there were a lot of people in this space here talking about the different nodes that are building on the Cardano ecosystem. It went for 2 hours, and it started at 2 a.m. for me to 4 a.m. So there was no chance that I was joining on this one live. But it's definitely something that you guys all need to tune in on to find out exactly what's happening in the space. So at the moment, the main Cardano node is written in Haskell. Haskell is a very rare language. It's not very common, and there aren't that many developers for it. So when you're asking and trying to hire for Haskell developers, it's costly because there's barely any of them, and they're all off building aerospace software, satellite technology. So they're really high-level devs, and Haskell is really good for that type of stuff. If you're building flight control systems, you want to write in Haskell because it's very secure and it's very formally verified. So it's got a lot of benefits in what you have there. But we need to now expand the ecosystem beyond that and start adopting different languages. So that way, if one node fails, such as the main Cardano node, there's a bug, there's an issue, all the nodes aren't affected by it. We have different types of nodes running that can support the network and keep things going without being impacted by a failure of another one. And I'm not saying that the main Cardano node will fail, like it's been engineered to the nth degree, but we do need to now start looking into it so we can start improving and speeding up development. So this is a really good summary that I put together for you guys. So this is a bite-sized read over of what's happening in the node diversity space. So we've got the main Haskell node by IAG. We have Amaru, which is being supported by Pragma and has that big that big treasury proposal at the moment asking for funding to get this one over the line. And this one's almost done as well. We have these new ones called Acropolis. We have Dingo by Blink Labs. We have Dolus by TX Pipe, the TypeScript version by Harmonic Labs. We have Razor by Dev. They're the Filipino outfit that build everything in .NET, so go team. And then we have the Scalus one as well. I don't know too much about that one, but Scalus is that same programming language in the Ergo ecosystem. Very similar to Haskell, but a little bit more popular. So they've got more devs on this side here. So you can see all of this extra diversity in the ecosystem, and imagine running all of the different Cardano nodes out there in these different languages. And they all have their pros and cons. Like this one here, modular plug and play architecture. So if you're writing a particular DApp, a decentralized application in the ecosystem, and you don't need indexing for whatever reason, then you just set up a node that doesn't have indexing. You just have maybe the submit part and the syncing part of the node. So that way you can get the transactions out there through this particular node, and that's all it is. It's very lightweight. It's very flexible in that regards. This one here is a developer-friendly APIs. So if you're running this particular application with dollars, then you are just interacting with the APIs and doing whatever you need to do. So they have all their pros and cons in regards to what they can offer. But the main thing here is that it can open up and attract different developers to the ecosystem. And I think that's really key. That's one of the really important things. So for example, Dingo here is written in Go. And I'm a big fan of this one here because Go is really popular. It's really popular out there. And there's a lot of cryptographic libraries that already exist that have been written for Bitcoin, been written for EVM, all in Go. And for a Go developer that has a fully functioning Cardano node written in Go, they'll be able to pull in those libraries that have already been written. And maybe, let's say it's a brand new encryption standard in Bitcoin that they want to integrate it into Cardano so that we can have interoperability between the two chains. They can just pull that library in, integrate in that particular library, and bam, there they go. They've got that brand new encryption over from the Bitcoin space into the Cardano ecosystem. And they don't need to rebuild that entire library from scratch. That's the power of node diversity. I keep on talking about this one, and I think it's really important. Chris from Blink Labs explained that to me, and I was just mind blown. Let's go for this node diversity. We've been talking about this for the last 2 years. So we need to now start branching out and expanding this for our own ecosystem. Ethereum, for example, have multiple different nodes, and some are more popular than others. So, we are now going into that space where we are going to have a big node diversity. I would love to see a PHP node. I don't know if it will happen. I don't think it will happen. It's not possible. You can't run it on PHP, but they're running on TypeScript. Who knows? We may see something purely for PHP. That's my programming strong point. Anyway, if you want to go through this post here, I'll put a link to it. It's on my X profile anyway, x.com/learncardano. You'll be able to find it. It's pretty recent, and you can learn more about node diversity. You can also listen to the X space as well. I put a link to it within that particular post. Not getting much love on this particular post at the moment, but I'm sure it will gain traction later on. Anyway, node diversity, really important, guys. Check it out. Now, I do these videos on a regular basis to keep you guys up to date with everything that's happening. I do all these interviews, and I don't get paid for any of this. All my revenue primarily comes from the YouTube ads and sale of NFTs. So if you want to support the channel, you can become a channel member. You can have a look here. These are all my fantastic channel members at the moment. You can subscribe if you have the means to do so, and it's just the price of a cup of coffee. So I've kept it as low as possible. So if you do have the means, if you do want to support, you can do so that way, and it keeps me going, keeps me motivated, and keeps me producing these videos for you guys. If you can't afford that, that's totally fine. You don't need to. Don't feel guilty that you can't. But if you can, at least hit that like and subscribe button. It helps with the algorithm and it helps me get these videos out there for the community. Now, with that out of the way, let's get back to it. All right, guys, let's go through the ecosystem updates. Like I said, there's quite a few here. So use the timestamps down below to skip ahead to the ones that you're most interested in, or just listen on in. There's a lot here to take in. The first one here is around Minswap Labs, and they have their first DAO proposal under Gov.V2. So this is the next era of governance for Minswap. And this is the first proposal here. This is a Minswap Treasury Management Working Group. There's a lot to go through here, and I'll let you guys absorb that information in your own time. But this here is, the focus of it primarily is to essentially grow the Minswap ecosystem. As it is the largest DEX, they're pretty much self-sufficient now with a large treasury, and hence they're looking at ways to use that treasury to grow their ecosystem. And in turn, it will also grow the Cardano ecosystem. So if you are a Minswap holder, if you are staking Min tokens within their platform, connect your wallet and vote for this proposal. Read over it in detail, engage with the community if you need to, and find out how and what you should vote for. But at the moment, it looks like it's going to pass. It's 99.51% voting yes, but hasn't officially reached the threshold yet, so it might not pass just yet. You need participation in this. If people don't vote, then it won't pass. So let's get together, guys, and push this one through if you think it is worthy. Make sure you read through over this proposal. I will put up a video tutorial about this one. I've been meaning to do it, but I've been missing all of these particular governance votes, but I will show you exactly how to do it as well. Make sure you check out my other YouTube channel where that tutorial will be. This next one here is around Strike Finance, and I keep on talking about this one. I think I've mentioned it in every single video update, but check this out. This is a sneak peek of their UI for adding in liquidity or editing your position. So this is really, really cool. This is the next phase. Now, when people were looking at Strike Finance the last couple of days, I've seen in my video comments down below that people complaining, is this a joke? Maximum limit here is 1,000 USD. And yeah, that's because the liquidity isn't there. People aren't putting in the liquidity for the platform. The team have been putting it in themselves. But now you can, well, soon you'll be able to put in the liquidity and hold a massive liquidity position. This is just putting ADA on the platform so other people can do longs and shorts. And if they fail or get liquidated, those liquidity providers get the rewards. It kind of just, it's a cool thing. But here, let me read this one for you in detail. Today was another strong day of revenue, and we're now on pace for 1,165,372 ADA in fees this year. That's a lot of fees. We added liquidity a few hours ago, but it was all used before we could make this announcement. Crazy. We'll add more liquidity soon. But when this interface opens to the public, we'll be able to add more liquidity and people can jump in whenever they want. So pretty exciting stuff from the Strike Finance team. I can't wait to see how this one grows over the rest of the year. This next one here was an interesting announcement that ties into Strike Finance, and this is Flow. This is a brand new borrowing lending protocol, and they announced, we are excited to announce our integration with Strike Finance. Strike's quickly turned into one of Cardano's favorite dApps, and our protocol will focus on building a deep lending market for Strike. This means users will be able to use Strike as collateral to borrow ADA. Cool. That means the more ADA you have, you can go longer on Strike. So this is double leveraging. You can use your Strike, borrow a lot of ADA, go on a long position or short position on Strike Finance, earn that, and then full circle. I think you earn some Strike tokens, and then you can go and borrow more. Now, I don't know if that's a sound strategy, but it's possible, and we'll be able to do that soon. So really cool stuff from the Flow team. Now, I don't think their public testnet is open yet. You won't be able to get to it or try it out, but this is something that to keep an eye on as well. Now, this is another project, VyFinance. They're always building something really cool, really unique for the Cardano ecosystem, and they have launched SafeSwaps. I've talked about this before in previous episodes, but this is a way for over-the-counter swaps to happen on-chain. So OTCs, that's the type of trade that you do with your friend, and you may be giving them a discounted price on your asset, like a SNEC, for example. Let's say you bought it really early, but you don't exactly want to sell it at market price, and then your friend snap it up. You come up with a deal and say, hey, you can buy it for half that price, and then I'll take a bit of a profit, and you can get into the ecosystem too. And we both win. I get a bit of cash, you get some SNEC at a cheaper price, and then you can do something with it. You can sell it on market, and then you gain as well. Whatever. So that's an OTC trade. But now what the VyFi team have done is they've made this on chain. So that way you have essentially a third party escrow sitting in between, so that you can do that trade online with smart contracts and not worry about the other person not paying that particular fee that you've requested. So it's a nice way of going about that. But let's have a look at the details here. So you can do CNT to CNT swaps, private or public trades, airdrops, mass distribution, and fee splitting. And it's all built on Plutus V3. How cool is that? Now, the other thing that I've also put out is customizable dashboard. I kind of missed this in their update. You know, the first thing I read was, great, that's amazing. SafeSwaps are live. But they've got these other things. They've done a massive UI overhaul and then also added in customizable dashboards. I totally missed this. I'm sorry, Steve. I didn't read the full post. But customizable dashboards are cool. Let me just play you this clip here and you can actually see it working in the background. But you'll be able to go to the Dex itself, you log in. This is the general UI screen. So it's got improvements there already. The portfolio area, it looks fantastic. But then you can go through and click on edit, that customize, that tiny little button that you'll miss. And then you can start moving all your widgets and stuff around. You can customize it to how you think is best. How cool is that? So you're not relying on some UI UX developer saying, hey, it should be like this. You can drag in whatever assets you want. You can say, I want to look at these charts and these tokens on my dashboard every single time. This would have taken a long time to do, to get right. They have a phenomenal UX designer, developer there to make this all happen. And yeah, they're pretty slick. They've got some really good devs there. So if you haven't checked out VyFinance and this brand new feature, I highly recommend you do. Links down below in the show notes. Now in the comments, guys, you've also mentioned that you want to find out what Emurgo are up to, what Cardano Foundation is up to. So I'll try and post more updates from them as well. But this is a brand new post, and this is one of the focuses that Emurgo has this year. And they're moving into the realm of real world assets, tokenization of those assets, whatever it might be. But this is a conversation they had at Tokenize This in New York. Let me just play you the clip so you have an idea of what's actually going on here.
Hi everyone again, I'm Keisha from Emurgo. We are live at Tokenize This New York. We are with Prashant from Zonix. What's a common misconception about tokenized RWAs?
Yeah, the common misconception about tokenized RWAs is that they think it's a magic bullet when you put something on tokenized on-chain, an asset, it's going to sell magically, right? So tokenization does not make an asset sell magically. If the underlying asset is garbage, whether it's off-chain or on-chain, tokenized, untokenized, it's still garbage. No one is going to buy that asset, right? The product has to be good. And the other misconception is that like tokenization is kind of like some kind of like scam. It is not. Tokenization of real assets have to follow through a very thorough compliance, regulation, due diligence based on the jurisdiction of the underlying asset.
So earlier today, you were on a panel talking about liquidity. Now, is liquidity the missing piece for tokenized RWA adoption, or what is it?
So I would say if you take back, right, since 2017, we got this as an idea as an experimentation, right? We started exploring it in the 2021. It took us like 3 years to launch our first offering on Polygon blockchain, a $50 million real estate portfolio company, right? And at that time, we were thinking like tokenizing the asset in the compliance manner is the hardest thing, right? So we came from that, then regulation, then every phase of it we're moving. So at this juncture, I would say the liquidity is a missing piece. The distribution is a missing piece for the primary token issuance. I think it's a step-by-step process. Right now, the primary distribution is not there for tokenized assets, right? And we are trying to solve that piece of the puzzle, like many other players.
So you mentioned Polygon, but let's talk about another blockchain, Cardano. You've got several initiatives going on with Cardano. Tell us about what's going on there.
Yeah, so we are actually a blockchain agnostic and asset agnostic. And we are working with multiple blockchains. And then Cardano, so Midnight specifically, right? So we have signed an agreement with Midnight. So we are going to bring real assets and our infrastructure on Midnight's chain, which is kind of like, not sure if it's Cardano's family or not, but Midnight is on the blockchain, right? And like that's what
Partner
it is.
chain.
Partner chain. And we're going to announce very soon about the other chain you asked me about.
All right. So I think that's a good summary of what the Emurgo team are up to at the moment. But it's interesting to hear that a lot of people don't know or realize that Midnight is a partner chain. It's a part of the Cardano family ecosystem. I don't know if that's on purpose or not. Interesting. Anyway, we'll watch this space and keep an eye on what's happening there. But it's good to see that Midnight itself have a lot of partnerships all in play already, and things are lining up for projects such as this to jump onto Midnight and start using it. Be interesting to see how that integrates, or if it integrates into the Cardano side of things. But I guess I should be looking into Midnight a little bit more. Now, this is looking into DexHunter and what they've been up to. And check this out. The DexHunter DAO is up 767,000 ADAP buybacks since over the last 365 days. So over the last year, they've been buying back all these hunt tokens. So you can see here, let me zoom in a little bit. That didn't really work. Hang on, open new image. Let me zoom in a little bit. And you can see all of the hunt tokens that have been purchased on a regular basis here. So you can see each one of these is a trade, it's a buy, and it's a buying a little bit of a hunt token every single day. It's buying quite a lot of hunt token here, 1,000, whatever it is. And that is a continuous buy that they do on a regular basis. And they've done that over the last year, adding up to that total of 767,000 ADA. Absolutely insane. So if you're part of the hunt ecosystem, this is what the team are doing at the moment to keep and sustain that hunt price. So they swap their ADA for the fees that they're collecting over to the hunt token. Really, really cool stuff. Now, another really big buy in the ecosystem is this whale here that has been buying into IAG over the last 7 months. And yesterday they bought another 97,000 ADA worth of IAG tokens. It's hard to see in this image here, but I'll try and get the DRep link so that you can have a better look at it. But you can look it up yourself. You can look up go to DRep.io, type in this stake address, and you'll be able to have a look at this wallet's profile and see what they're actually buying and how much they're buying. So this is a really big whale just buying into all these ecosystem projects, and IAG is definitely one of them. Now, one of the really cool things with Iagon is that you can actually use their platform right now and use it as storage. You can use their platform, store whatever you want in there. And I'm using a little bit, I'm just testing it out, playing around with it. But one of the big things that I'm trying to use it for is storing website data. So in my last video, I mentioned that I wanted to replicate and put on my DRep website over to Iagon, and that way I could serve it up from there. I've got a little bit of a problem at the moment. I can't sign my transaction to actually pay for my subscription. I don't know if anyone else has this issue, but that's my problem at the moment. So hopefully I can get the team to get me some support and get past that. I thought it might have been my firewalls or something, but doesn't seem to be. So I'll work this one out, and hopefully I can do a full video tutorial on how to upload a website to the Iagon infrastructure and get yourself sorted there. But this is what it kind of looks like, and I would be able to click on these to show you how it all works, but you'd be able to actually list and put up a website on a basic plan, and it's so cheap. I can't believe how cheap it is compared to something like Dropbox. And Dropbox doesn't let you host websites or anything. You can, once you renew your plan, and all you need to do is pay $2.50 USD, and you get a terabyte of space, cloud storage space. That's really cheap, guys. So do check out Iagon if you haven't used them for storage. It's a really nice option. I do also believe that you get a bit of a discount if you hold IAG tokens. I'm pretty sure that's the case, and I did have some IAG tokens on this wallet. But check it out, guys. You'll be able to sign up for the subscription, and hopefully I can get a video tutorial about hosting websites on their platform soon too. This is a shout out for Cardano Explorer, CExplorer. I've been using this website for a long time, since I started my stake pool that used to be called ADA Explorer. Now it's CExplorer, but they're working on V2 of it, CExplorer 2.0. I can't wait for this one to come up, because new improved UI, UXs for all of our Explorer websites is kind of important. Keep your eyes out for that one. New updates coming out soon. Now, this one here is a shout out for Josie. Josie recently joined the Cardano Foundation, and I see her in the Cardano Slack channels, and she's working on a couple of things. And one of the really cool things that she's working on is helping users be onboarded to the ecosystem. And she has a community town hall coming up really soon as well. So this is the details here. This is Callus Africa Town Hall. It's coming up this Friday at 6 p.m. UTC. You can check it out. You can find out what Josephine is up to in regards to helping users on board to the Cardano space. You may pick up some tips there and help other people on board onto the ecosystem. You can register here. This is the link. You can see it quite clearly there, but if you are wanting the link directly, I'll put it in the show notes and you can subscribe to this particular webinar that's coming up. This one here is a highlight from Cornucopias, and check it out. These are some new updates. This is the dome. It looks like we can run around the environments now. For those that don't know, Cornucopias is a Unreal Engine 5 game that's being built on the Cardano ecosystem. But this screenshot here shows a preview of the next release. You'll be able to run around and have your own, I guess, habitat in the environment. So this is some really cool stuff. They've got the backpacks now and some jetpacks and stuff, but this is really cool what they're putting into the game, so people can enjoy and gain some assets and stuff and decorate their homes, I guess. Really cool stuff. I do enjoy all these updates from Cornucopias, and I have to get some more hard drive space so I can actually download the game again and give it a go, see what their updates are like. This next one here is from Sneck Energy, and earlier this year they released a new flavor of blue citrus, and this is the old one here. Now, I still don't have any of these. I think it'll look great behind me in the shelf back there. I don't want to drink it necessarily, but be nice to have it in the background there and have on my shelf so I can support the ecosystem. But I can't get this shipped over to Australia. So I'm trying to work out a way. I don't know who to talk to, don't know who to contact to actually make that happen. But you can see on my profile here, let me go down, 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 down. I try to reach out to people, but not getting much traction at all. I don't know where I posted it now. It's down there somewhere. There it is. There it is. So I'm asking someone to send this over from the US. If you know anyone that actually can do that, I'm willing to pay him an ADA, but at least a can, even an empty can, send it over to me so I can put it on the shelf behind me. Be awesome to have. This update here is from GenWealth, and I did an interview, I can't remember when it was, but I'll put a link down below so you can find out what GenWealth are doing. But this is a reminder that when you pass away, your ADA will essentially be taken to the grave with you if you don't have some sort of plan to have those funds released to your significant others. If you don't have some sort of inheritance plan in place, it's probably a good idea to think about it at least. But GenWealth are creating an app to manage that. So it's a selfless, self-custody protocol for inheritance. So when you pass away, you can pass on your seed phrase or whatever it is to someone else, and they'll be able to restore it and interact with your wallet. So if you haven't done or thought about that, probably a good time to stop and think and work out some sort of plan so that you guys can pass on your wealth. Now, for me, my strategy with crypto was to buy and retain a lot of assets and pass them down to the next generation. So that was my goal. So if I don't have a plan or a way to actually pass all that stuff down, then there's a problem there, isn't there? I'm collecting and earning all these crypto assets and won't be able to pass them on to the next generation. So it's something that you really need to think about for those accidents or unplanned events that could happen in your life. People don't like to think about it, but it does happen. So plan ahead, guys. It's kind of important. If you haven't given GenWealth a follow yet or looked into the project, check them out. They've got a link tree here. All the details are in the socials. You can find it in the show notes as well. This one here, I just wanted to give a shout out for. This is one of the other meme coins on the Cardano space. They had some suspected rug or whatever it is, but some people have stepped in and taken over the project. And this is the brand new thing that they've got. It's the Cocky Wings LLC food truck in South Carolina, I think it was. Southern South Carolina. So this is a brand new food truck that they've put together, all powered sponsored by or paid for it with the COC token. So I think it's pretty cool. It's not every day you see food trucks like this, all part of the meme coin ecosystem. I think they're just missing a Cardano logo on here. So I think you need to fix that, guys, and put some Cardano stickers all over the place. But besides that, it's looking good. I like what you're doing. Now we're going to go over into the Cardano and governance space at the moment. And I thought this was a really important update. And this was an interview that Big Pay or Skinny Pay did with the brand new CEO of Emurgo, Philip Pon. And let me just play this clip for you guys.
What do you think, the role of Emurgo is, in the past and moving forward in the ecosystem?
Yeah, I wanted to give you a hot take, and I'm really grateful for your time and the fact that you reached out. So I really wanted to share something, for the first time. Based on community feedback and based on my analysis of where things are at, I've recommended to the team, and they're in the process of doing it already, of taking Emurgo's Genesis ADA out of our DReps and actually delegate those, that amount to other DReps, frankly, and not DReps that support everything that we do. We're actually going to delegate it across a number of DReps, some of whom may actually disagree with us, and we're okay with that.
How big is that? So Emurgo, they were one of the founding entities of Cardano, and they were given a lot of ADA to help grow the ecosystem commercially. And they've been using that ADA to vote on various proposals and whatnot within the ecosystem. But they're taking a community approach now, and this is really, really good. They're taking a community approach to that ADA. They'll be delegating it to different DReps all around the space. To make this clear, they won't be using their ADA to vote for their proposals. Personally, I think that's a big conflict of interest, and I don't think it should be done by anyone within the space. If you've got a treasury governance action out there and you're requesting millions of ADA and you're voting for it with your millions of ADA, I really think that's a big conflict of interest. So if you ever put in a callous proposal, if you ever put in a governance action, you shouldn't be voting on your own thing, especially when you have millions and millions of ADA. So I think this is a brilliant move by Emurgo to better manage that delegation and decentralize the governance space within the ecosystem. So if you haven't checked out this particular interview yet, I have a show notes about this particular interview. So it's a breakdown so you can get an idea of what they've been talking about. It's another long one here. So they go for an hour talking through everything that's happening around governance and Emurgo itself. So do check out the show notes if you don't have time, or also just check out Big Pay's video as well about it. So you can get to that YouTube link there or on Big Pay's X profile. So you can find all the links there. Now, moving on to more of the governance side of things in the ecosystem. This was quite an interesting alert. The Gov.Tools maintenance is ending soon. So Gov.Tools is the main website that the majority of the Cardano ecosystem is using for voting on governance proposals and becoming DReps, finding DReps, etc., etc. So it was the main one that was created for the SanchoNet era. This is the test net, and the maintenance for it is going to stop. So there's a couple of core developers that are working on it. They're being paid, and once they're not being paid anymore, they will look for other jobs. So now we have this big highlighted thing at the top here saying, hey, you need to probably vote for this if you haven't. We need some revenue here so we can actually continue this website, or we might just not see this and we're starting to vote on different websites and have a mishmash of whatever it is. I don't know. I've done a lot of video tutorials about delegating and using that particular website. I think all of these tutorials here use Gov.Tools website as your delegation side of things. So if this website doesn't exist, my tutorials will be useless and you will need to find other ways of delegating. You can delegate directly through wallets as well, but a lot of the wallets are a little bit biased in regards to how they are focusing where you can delegate your ADA. And as a result, there's a bit of centralization of that vote to certain wallets. And I really think it should not be like that. We'll see. We might change in the future. But it's something to keep an eye on here. We probably need to fund this website. It's kind of important. Now, this one here is a little bit of a reminder. The applications for the Constitutional Committee are open until May 31st. Today is the 21st of May. So May 31st is the final closing date for this. If you want to be a part of the Constitutional Committee, you can follow this link here, elections.constitution.gov.tools. From there, you'll be able to nominate yourself. If you want to register and be a part of the CC team, you can. Voting begins on the 5th of June and audit announcements on the 1st of July. So the Constitution Committee vote on all these governance actions that come online, and you essentially say, is this constitutional or not? So you're not exactly voting for or against the proposal, the governance action that is put online, but you're voting to see if it fits within the Cardano constitution. So it's a little bit different there. So if you have the time and effort and energy for that kind of stuff, you can jump in and join the team there. Now, the committee is it's supposed to be a volunteer, non-paid position. I've heard there's possibly compensation, but I wouldn't be holding out for it. I don't think most people get paid for this kind of stuff. I know the interim Constitution Committee didn't get paid for any of the stuff that they do. So it's something to think about if you are going to be a part of the CC Constitution Committee. This next one here is around the net change limits. Now, the net change limits is the top limit of how much ADA can be withdrawn from the Cardano treasury over a certain time period. Now, admittedly, I was thinking, oh yeah, it's in a year's time. So the current one that is trending is 350 million ADA for the next year, but it's not quite the full year. A full year is 69 epochs. That's how many periods are in a year, how many epochs are in a year. This particular one here, the 350 ADA net change limit, is to, I think, the end of this year. And if we are starting it in June, July, then it's only half of the amount of epochs. So it is a lot of ADA for half a year. And then in January, we vote on a new net change limit and have more budget withdrawals. So that means we're spending 350 million ADA in 6 months. Okay. This is another way to visually represent it. Cardano Yoda here put out this infographic. He does a lot of really cool infographics for the governance side of things. So, do follow his account. You can vote for him as a DRep as well. But let's have a look here. So this is all of the net change limits that we have put into a calendar term. So here we have first quarter 2025 to the final quarter 2025. Now, we haven't approved any of this stuff yet. The budget is still going. It's going to go till mid-year at least. So essentially, we're going to spend all of that ADA within 6 months. So yeah, it's not quite on track against the timelines of how a lot of these proposals are. And we have other net change limits here. We got the 200 one, we have the 300, and this one that was withdrawn as well. So we've got all these different net change limits set at different time periods. So when you're voting for all this stuff, we do kind of need to keep all that in mind. And I think a lot of the proposals and budget proposals that were put online also need to factor that in. So a lot of them put in budget requests for a year's worth of engineering employment. So if the year ends at the end of Q2 in 2025, then that would end also at the Q2 in 2026. So projects have got to factor all that stuff in against the timelines of these net change limits. So if a project asked for 100 million for the next 12 months, but of course this net change limit is only over the next 6 months, that it's really going to be realistic, then hopefully they're budgeting for that and not requesting more funds next year at an earlier date. They can say, we only need half because we've already been half paid from the previous year. So I really hope we do see that kind of stuff come into play and that projects are factoring in all those costs, not saying, hey, we need a year's worth of funding for the next 6 months and then a year's worth from the beginning of the next change limit to continue funding. I really don't think we're going to see that happening, but it's something to keep in mind here, and probably would change the way that you vote for these various net change limits. I did vote yes for this particular net change limit here at the 350 million ADA. I think we need a good starting point, and that was my rationale behind it. And I really thought that this would have been approved a lot sooner, a lot earlier, but it seems to be dragging on, and we may not see this until Q3 at least. Anyway, I'll review this and vote on these other ones soon as well. So if you are one of my delegates to my DRep profile, I will let you know, and I'll give you a rationale as soon as possible. So what will happen if this 200 million net change limit passes? Intersect have two choices. Now, this is important because Intersect have put up a budget proposal for 270 million, 272, 277, I can't remember the exact number. Let's say it's 270 million ADA. And if this passes, then Intersect's budget proposal won't be able to fund all the projects that made that particular cut. So this is their choices here. Only include the 7 proposals because of voting order, which would be fair. And we can have a look at in the first picture here. So this here, so these are the first 7 here. We have Midgard, fantastic. Input-output research, cool. Input-output engineering, so that's that core proposal. We have Blockfrost platform community budget proposal, Starstream, High Red Wallet maintenance, and Palace. Cool, okay. What we miss out on here is Catalyst 2025 proposal. So there will be no Project Catalyst in 2025 and probably leading to 2026 as well. So all the other ecosystem stuff will completely be missed out. We also miss out on some other really key things here. So like a Cardano summit or major Cardano event, not happening this year. If we go down to a net change limit. So 2025 will be a very quiet year for the Cardano ecosystem. We also see all of these other projects not get any sort of funding, and there's no catalyst, so they won't be dipping into that either. So I don't know. Will we lose engineers? No idea. Will these projects find funding somewhere else? They might. I don't know how they're going to fund themselves, but you know, a lot of this stuff is infrastructure stuff. It's not stuff that you have a good business case around it. So they have to build the infrastructure, then build a marketable product on top of that. So there's multiple levels of development that they need to do to actually make this thing happen. So it'll be rather unfortunate that all of these proposals here don't get any funding. Now, the second point that Marek makes, skip the Catalyst proposal, second picture, which would be pragmatic if the Catalyst team would have to voluntarily withdraw their proposal. Now, let's have a look at what happens. So if there's no Catalyst, so let's see what happens here. So if they skip Catalyst, so Catalyst is asking for a massive amount of ADA here. So it's a 70 million ADA. So if they get rid of Catalyst for next year, all of these other projects which are asking for a lot less would make it through. So they're essentially all of these top projects here, skipping Catalyst, and then all these projects get to go through. So that probably would be a nicer approach. So then all these infrastructure projects down here can actually make it in and get funding. Still, we won't see any Catalyst projects, and some of these smaller ecosystem projects won't get funding, but we will see the infrastructure stuff list here get funding and put through. Interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here based on what net change limit comes through. Now, have you delegated to a DRep? If you haven't, you'll need to, because you won't be able to withdraw your ADA rewards. They put in a new update several months ago now. So if you are on your Cardano wallet and you're trying to withdraw your ADA rewards, you won't be able to if you haven't delegated to a DRep or at least participated in governance by voting abstain or whatever. So this here is a nice reminder from ADA Handle, and they have made it really easy for DReps to have a visible and human readable DRep ID. And this here, this is a cool new thing they added in. So this is the DRep setup. So normally you have a long string of characters, which is your DRep ID. This is what it looks like here. This is the latest format version of it. So you can see it's a long string of characters. And this isn't something that I would read out on screen and so that you guys can copy down and delegate to me. I'll direct you to a website and where you can copy and paste it. But what the ADA handle team have done is they've made this so that you can put your handle on there. So if you have a sub handle such as DRep at Pete, you could use that as your DRep ID. So if you're telling people, oh yeah, you can delegate to my DRep profile by typing into your wallet DRep at Pete as the handle, then you'll be able to delegate directly to it that way. So that's something human friendly, it's readable, and anyone can be type that in and start delegating as well. So that's a really nice way, really nice feature from the ADA handle teams to kind of make that process a lot easier for users. So if you haven't delegated to DRep, please do. You can get to my DRep profile at drep.learncardano.io. All the details about my DRep profile and voting strategy and everything is on there, and I'll put more and more details up. But you can simply connect your wallet, whatever wallet it is, click on delegate, and away you go. So awesome, awesome way of delegating. And I will put my ADA handle here as well. So once I get one generated and created, I'll put my DRep ADA handle ID up here so that you guys can delegate that way. All right, guys, that's all I have for this particular update. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, like, subscribe on your way out. And if you're heading to that Pizza DAO event anywhere in the world, have fun. I will be at the Brisbane one later this week. So if you are there, make sure you reach out, say hi. Love to meet members in the community as well. And of course, there'll be lots of pizza. So let's enjoy the night. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next update.